All right.
All right, welcome to the Personnel Committee meeting of February the 24th. Roll call, we have everyone's here. The invocation and pledge will be led by Mr. Joseph.
Please stand, bow our head. Dear Lord, bless this great country, bless this great state, bless this great parish. Bless all the board members here to make the right decision for this great parish. Dear Lord, bless the armed forces service members that serve this great country. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Public comment period. If you want to talk about anything on the agenda, fill out a card with Ms. Jody. They got a red and green card over there. All right, Animal Services Board. We have two. Ms. Jody Smith. Okay, Ms. Jody, you want to, you're a reappointment, right?
No, I'm actually not.
Oh, you're a new one?
Yeah.
Well, come on up and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Jody Smith. I've lived here in Ascension Parish for 8 years now. I live down off of Old Alligator Bayou. I have the only legal wildlife rescue in this area in Ascension Parish. We take raccoons. It's at home, but we've got 5 huge enclosures out back. We take raccoons, squirrels, flying squirrels, possums, chipmunks, and I have a great team. Several of our legal subcommittees live here in the Gonzales and Prairieville area. Got somebody new in French Settlement. So this is the thing. I'm very passionate about the animals. I also work with a lot of the neighborhood cat ladies, definitely. Some of them should be on the board, I think. So I think I bring a different perspective to the Animal Services Board, and I'd really like to be involved here in Ascension Parish. I have a good background as far as I'm great with fundraising, social media. I brought a book with me. Currently, we are hosting the NWRA, which is the National Wildlife Rehabilitation Association. We're hosting a conference here at the Capitol at the Hilton. We've got over 500 people coming in nationally and internationally, so I've been over there dragging in cadavers and setting everything up today, but it's for the rest of the week. So, I'm here to work hard for the animals. I don't get paid to do it. We operate on charity and money from our own pockets. It's important to me. Also, I work with Jeff Dorson with the Humane Society. I will probably be his new case manager for this area for animal cruelty. And I also work with Brett Guyman and Lauren Ventrella to effect law. Here in Louisiana, we've got a couple of House bill proposals that we're currently putting together, but I've been doing that for a few years. So, we want to stop animal cruelty, we want to stop animal abuse, animal facilities and the way that they keep them and what they're doing there is also of a concern, and it's important. I'd like to partner more with animal control here in Ascension Parish. I also have started working sort of with the Sheriff's Department, but they didn't even know I was there, and I'm around the corner from one of their buildings. You can look us up online at wildnaturerescue.org, and we have a great team, and I think I have, I bring a lot to work with the Animal Services Board. I don't know how many seats you have open, but I'd really like to be a part of it. And I don't know what your current initiatives are, but I'd be interested to know.
Okay, any questions, guys?
No?
You got it?
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, next we got Miss Catherine Chafisi. How you doing?
I'm good. Kathy, I'm not nearly as impressive as Jody. I wish I would have called me first. But anyway, we're all here for the right reasons, so whoever you pick will be great. I am also a native of Ascension Parish. I've lived here just about my whole life. I have been volunteering with the shelter for the better part of 8 years, mostly as a foster. I'm excited that we're building a new shelter. It's much needed, as we all know that. I'm hoping that I'll be able to contribute in a positive way. to help improve the lives of the animals and their housing while they're there, and also to help, maybe change the perspective that some people have at the shelter. I think that's going to be super important. Let's face it, there's a problem with overpopulation of pets, and we're not going to be able to build enough cages for all of the animals. CARES House does a really good job, the shelter does a good job of partnering with rescues and doing transports and try to keep the cages open, but we're never going to build enough cages for the animals. And that leads to some tough decisions that none of us want to have to make. And one of the things as a foster, I do a lot of adoption events and things like that. And, sometimes we don't have, obviously, what people want. We try to send them to the shelter. And I hear so often, I don't want to go. It's too sad. I would volunteer, or, I would do more at the shelter, but it's just too depressing. And I think if we can just build something, that would change that perspective, and obviously, helping the animals improve life, quality of life while they're there. Hopefully they're not there for long for the right reasons. Will, maybe encourage the community to volunteer more at the shelter, to foster more at the shelter, which creates more spaces. I feel like that will, create more adoptions, and open up opportunities even just to get into some other things like responsible pet ownership, spay and neuter programs. I'm friends with the cat ladies too. It's an issue. But anyway, I just want to help however I can.
Very good. Questions?
Yep.
Mr. Varner, you don't have to push that.
I think I obviously know that you'd probably be in support of extending the dedicated tax, is that correct?
That is correct.
What would be your view if the tax is not renewed? What would you, do you have any ideas on raising revenue and funds and different things like that? Obviously through volunteering and stuff like that, donations, but do you have anything with maybe partnering with
That I'm
neighboring
partnering.
communities? And what's your take on that?
Right off the top of my head, I'm not really sure, but I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities there. I think by creating something with a more positive environment for the community and getting the community involved, that would open, some doors for more partnership or fundraising. I don't really know until we get into it and everybody starts talking. I would love to talk to ideas with people.
Yeah. Okay. No further questions for me?
All right, thank you.
What do you think the biggest issue is with the abundance of pets or animals?
The biggest issue,
Like, is it the spade and neutering people need to do more of, or?
I think it's all of the above, personally. I think you've got irresponsible, pet owners, people that dump animals. Obviously, spay and neutering is a big problem, because when people, even when they have pets, if they end up going outside, letting them outside, it creates more pets, more unwanted pets. We can't keep up with the number of
We'll never keep
dogs,
up.
cats, especially cats. You just can't keep up with it. One unspayed cat creates, in the end, hundreds, thousands. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my belief
Yeah.
too. Thank you.
That's all?
That's it for me.
Good?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
I'll make a
We got to do these separate, so we got Ms. Jody Smith.
motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Barnado, second by Mr. Joseph. We'll send her to the full council. Next, Ms. Catherine Chafisi. Motion by Mr. Barnado, second by Mr. Hillingsbeck, and that'll go to the full council.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank y'all. We appreciate you. Okay, next. We have planning and zoning.
Chairman Cullen?
Yes.
You could just let them know the recommendations will be on the March 19th council meeting.
March 19th council meeting. You don't have to be there for that though, right? No. Yeah. But if you want to come, you're more than welcome.
I'll probably come. I drive the commissioner's straight too.
Okay. Good deal. Thank you. Okay, planning and zoning board interviews. First up would be Mr. Wade Shakesnyder. Mr. Shakesnyder, you already on the board, right?
Added the chairman.
Good evening. I'm not used to being on this side of the podium, so it's also a welcome view to see what y'all get to see.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Councilman Cullen, I am currently on the board. I am currently the senior most Planning and Zoning Commissioner. I've served since 2017. I took about a 1-year hiatus when I got married in 2020, and then when they had an appointment that dropped off, I put my name back in, and I've been serving very proudly ever since. Why do I want to keep doing this? Everybody asks me that. I can tell you this is a love-hate relationship on the board, but I believe that I've lived here my whole life. I'm 49 years old. I know how Ascension Parish used to be. I see where it is, and I see where it's kind of been going. And I believe that you need somebody who has the understanding of how now and what it's going to look like in the future really needs to still be on this board and keep that one hand on the wheel to help guide us in the right direction. There's so many things that I'm very proud of. I'm the only member of the commission who served on the last master plan event. And so I was also on the committee to serve on the master plan event for the west side. That's all coming up. I've been very integral in participating in making sure we got the rezoning and the plan for the West Bank, something I am very, very proud of. My father had a hand in that 20-something years ago. And so I've been active in very many aspects of planning and zoning for the parish. And I just want everybody to realize planning and zoning is not just subdivisions. We have to deal with zoning, and we have to watch out for where we're recommending zoning to the council. And I've been very cautious about where I've recommended these zoning changes. We're also responsible for updating the ordinances as they come fit. And I know that my personal opinion is that we haven't done enough with the ordinances, and we have a lot more things to tighten up. I've been a part of this when we had kind of the Wild West after 2017 to 2019. And then 2020, we had Corona hit, and everything was shut down. And I was also a part of everything slowing things down, enacting the moratorium, making some of the changes. And so I've seen how we've done it, and I want to continue doing this. Currently, my leadership, I've been the chairman of the zoning commission for some time, and then now I'm the vice chair, and then I've been the planning chairman for quite some time. And that takes a lot of extra time. You got to come in and sign plats with Eric and take a lot of extra time, and I'm very happy to do it. And I want to keep up with the service to the citizens of Ascension Parish. So I'm here to answer any of your questions. I'd love to talk to you and give you my opinions.
Very good. We got any questions, guys?
Yeah, I got it.
I think Mr. Hilling's next before you, sir.
Yeah, hell, oh,
Yeah.
I got to press this button.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sorry. You know. Oh, we following rules
Brian?
today.
All right, what is your understanding of ex parte communication and quasi-judicial
Sitting down.
decision?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What is your understanding of ex parte communication and a quasi-judicial decision?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm going to tell you how I see it. I refer to our legal advice. For example, for the Planning and Zoning Commission, it's Spencer. He tells me that when you have ex parte, that's not something that really we're specifically going after. Ex parte in a judicial sense, I don't know all of those terms. I'm not a legal person.
But your position is kind of like a judicial.
It could be argued, but not necessarily. We are more
It's listed,
executive.
It is.
We are really more
With the
of an
state.
executive action. We're more the legislative. Judicial, in that sense, could be more a sense of how the council acts whenever they act in an appeal, or if the Board of Adjustments act. So I understand where you may be coming from. I respectfully disagree, and I can understand that, and I'd be more than happy to sit down with
Do you want
Spencer
the
or,
Louisiana revised statute number on it? 42.1101. You can look it up.
And I would be happy to.
Probably need to
And
get familiar with it.
And I would be happy to discuss those things with you. As far as I'm concerned, I've sought the advice of counsel, legal counsel, and I've had conversations with him. In an no certain circumstance, has he seen an issue? So
But do
I
you
have
see
that.
an issue?
Sir?
Do you see an issue with that? Meeting with them privately and the public not even knowing about it?
So if you're referring to, and I've made no bones about it, I've had a conversation, I've had a meeting with a developer.
That's the problem.
So I also
But this public
respectfully,
commission, you shouldn't do that.
well, and Councilman, I respectfully disagree with you.
Read the law. It's
And
in the law.
I would be very willing to discuss it. So
There's no discussion if you don't believe you did anything wrong when it's in the law.
when you have a meeting with somebody, there's also tales of what you're meeting about and how you're meeting and any of those likes. So you can have any type of
You're giving them
meeting.
advice how to set their maps to try to pass.
No, sir.
No, you
sir.
told me you did. Don't say you
No,
didn't.
sir. It's not a sense of how to get it to pass. There are things when you have a design of a subdivision, for example, and there could be road layouts, there could be outtakes. Those things are subject to any type of interpretation and any type of suggestion. And frankly, I think it's more important sometimes that you have those discussions with them because they may have ideas or you may have ideas that they don't have.
That's not your job, though. That's planning department's job to have those discussions with them.
Not necessarily.
You are just to yes or no approve their plan. That's it.
Unfortunately, I really do disagree with you,
Well,
and
know
I
you do.
understand that.
You don't think you did nothing wrong, but you did.
No, sir, I really don't. I think,
Call to order.
Let's go ahead and, y'all can have this discussion between yourselves.
Yes,
We
sir.
don't need to be hearing all this.
It's about him and his job.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. Wade?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. No,
Go ahead, go ahead.
you're
That's what I'm
next. You're next.
trying
Go
to
ahead.
Yeah, wait, how many subdivisions or plat you have approved since you've been in this, position on the board?
I believe about 10 to 12. And I think I've voted to deny close to that many as well. And again, I've been serving since 2017, so I do apologize if I don't remember the exact amount.
All right.
But I've been generally maybe 60-40 or so. And then there are also times, I would like to explain that and I've voted to things that you can have the term, and I don't necessarily like to use it, but you can kill a subdivision with an approval. You can vote to approve a subdivision and it may never get built because of specific restrictions that they may have or drainage studies or whatnot. And that's also a strategy that you have to understand because you do want to make sure that you protect not just landowner rights, but everybody else's rights. And so you have to balance those things.
All right, my next question is how many, my normal question is, do you know where the West Bank is? Do you know where Downsville is?
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right? I mean,
My family has owned multiple businesses
All right.
in there, and we still
All right.
operate in there.
So my question is, do you feel that the West Bank should have different rules for developments than the east side?
That's a good question. To be perfectly honest, I believe they should, but it's complicated in how I would say that. There are avenues of the West Bank that don't have the same challenges that we have on the East Bank. For example, there are traffic infrastructure needs on the West Bank that they have the ability through cooperative endeavor agreements with the state and cooperative endeavor agreements with other businesses and such, that they can probably get these lands and identify those lands and build highways and the infrastructure necessary. They have people's water. They have a lot of other infrastructures that are there but need to be improved. We have the same thing on the East Bank, but it's not as efficient or as effective to get those things improved
due to an aging infrastructure and such. And also you have the population difference. I don't necessarily recommend higher density on the West Bank, even though some people may. I personally don't prefer that. But you may also you might want to recommend smaller lot sizes perhaps on a West Bank versus the East Bank. I would be very happy to see larger lot sizes, which again changes density. I would also like to see stuff along the lines where we have overlay systems on the East and West Bank that then can dictate those type of rules and regulations. One of the other complicated things that I would like to talk about, we recently made a change to one of our ordinances in dealing with the X zone and obtaining elevation certificates. Specifically, this was requested due to the necessity of the West Bank and the paper trail and the inefficiency it caused on the West Bank. But there's a carryover effect, and this is why I voted against it. You then have land that may be low and is not considered in an AE or flood zone, but is X. And so therefore, we are potentially giving developable areas unintentionally because we don't want to pull elevation certificates. So the short answer is, yes, I believe it, but there are some constraints on those things.
No, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Varner.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
I know we've talked at lengths. We served together, so I definitely thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. I definitely I get excited when we have a lot of submissions to any board because I think the filtration system and across the board, I think the residents deserve certainly more people to interview for these spots. So it's a very good thing to see. I know some people's mad because there's 10, 11 submissions, but I kind of get excited about it because it seems to be people recognize the importance of these positions in Ascension Parish, and I think you understand that as well. But what is your view? Me and you have talked briefly about this the other day, but what is your view on school concurrency, or what do you know of school concurrency? Because it's something I think this parish needs to start discussing, and even maybe on a state level, we need to start discussing that for smart growth.
Right. So my understanding on school concurrency is that we start using the data that the school system or the school governing areas provides either to some type of either infrastructure approval basis or the parish and say, hey, we're too full. We need to slow down potentially. If you also look at our last meeting, I kind of asked, hey, what about the school system? We need to have that data. And when I ran for school board, that was one of the things I wanted. I wanted to be able to have that data from the school system to come to the planning commission and say, by the way, this is our empirical data. We are at a critical point. We cannot, and look at schools as if it is infrastructure in that sense, and use that in a determination factor for any type of approval. So I completely agree with you. We can start it at the parish level. I'd love to be a part of that and work with it to get that pushed to where we can use that. And I would use that the same thing as the sheriff's office, the first responders, the fire districts. All of those things need to be incorporated in our decision-making process. And we just need to have the empirical data for it.
That's all I got.
Very well. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you. Next up, we have Mr. Nicholas Miller. How you doing, Nick?
Good evening, y'all.
Yeah. You on the board already, too, huh?
I am. I've been serving for 2 previous terms.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Any questions for Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Mr. Miller, how many subdivisions or PUD, SMUD, or you have approved since you've been on the board?
Approved, total would be a handful. I couldn't give you the exact number, 3, 4, or 5. But
Okay.
yeah, putting the restrictions in place that make sure that these things are done the right way, I think is the important factor there.
Okay. Have you ever been on the West Bank?
I have.
What part?
All over Donaldsonville. I worked on the river.
Huh? The West Bank only got one place to be.
First and last chance.
The same question I asked, do you feel that the West Bank should have different rules for development on than the East Bank?
No,
Sure.
we got to have standard rules parish-wide in the ordinances, but I think you can achieve some incentivization, incentivize and redistricting some zones. Baton Rouge has some revitalization zones where they have kind of like with the overlay opportunities to be able to change some of the dynamics of those specific areas that you want to increase growth. One of the rezoned hearings that we did, I think for CF, that was one of the comments that I made to Kate MacArthur with LED, is that we've got to make sure that we're not putting the cart before the horse there and getting into a scenario like we had with some of the expansion here on the East Bank, so that when we do these big tracts of land, we are making sure that we're incorporating the infrastructure improvements ahead of the projects themselves, so that we don't jam ourselves up and get into those areas. But yes, I'd like to see a overall parish-wide ordinance that directs development. But if we can put overlay zones, we can put zoning categories in there that help incentivize and do different things that would create better opportunity there, then I think that's the route to go.
Okay. You said incentivize. What type of incentivize you may be thinking of?
Well, I'm assuming your objective is to get the population growth there, to get the revenue there that is needed. So you want to bring those developers over there, and you want to, encourage them to put projects in that area.
I've been encouraging them a long time, and I haven't got one yet. So you give me something that I can go to the
I'm not a
table and discuss
developer.
with.
I can't tell you what's going to make them gleeful over the situation.
That's the best answer
but
I've
I
heard
do
here
want
tonight.
I do want to look at those opportunities and know how do we incentivize there, but without jeopardizing the people that are there and the things that are in the infrastructure that we have in place that are going to put us at a disadvantage.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Vonderday,
You can go. Go ahead.
Me?
I'm gonna go ahead.
you giving way? Go
Who's
ahead.
on first?
All right, this is an easy one. What would you do if you were the only commissioner voting against a popular project?
If I'm the only commissioner voting against,
Like if everybody else is wanting to approve it, but you got your beliefs.
I'm going to
your
vote no.
Judgment.
I don't think I'm swayed by popularity or the cool kids at all. I march to the beat of my drum. If the applicant brings a project to me and it fits within the code and the ordinances, and I think this is what we should be doing, then it's a yes vote. And if you do not meet the code, if you do not meet the ordinances that we have in place, if upon research of the data and what's been presented, and it does not fit, then no. The answer is no.
Correct.
Sound good to me.
Good answer. Anything else, Brian?
No, I'm good.
Ty?
I'm gonna ask you the same question. What is your take on school concurrency? And secondly, what would it surprise you to know that our state leaders, certain state leaders, don't even know what it is? Would it surprise you that state of Louisiana is something we probably should be pushing for smart growth? What's your take on it?
No, we absolutely have got to be incorporating. I think at the very minimum, there's got to be some type of checklist that we provide to the schools and say, listen, where is your stance on this right now? Do you have the ability to take in X amount of students that are going to be a result of this project, this development, or whatever's going on in that area? If it's a business in a commercial area, are you going to be able to handle the school traffic, the increased traffic that's going to be in this area? So I think certain areas of the traffic study need to have that put on there as well. I think that, I can't remember what it was, the cell tower, that went over there in the Dutchtown area. Just a simple question. Hey, have you, the applicant, I asked, were you in contact with the school? Are they aware of this project that's happening near, and what was their stance on it? So, yes, we have separate boards, the school board. I don't know what their views are and their participation levels is, where they go with seeing these projects that come before the planning and zoning, but there's got to be some collaboration there and understanding that they do affect each other.
What is your current understanding, since, how long have you served? 4 years now?
4 years, 2 terms.
What is your experience with the school board in itself, whenever a subdivision is up for pre-approval for a plat? Have y'all had any interactions with school board members? Is the staff encouraging this? Does the staff talk to the school board? Do you know that?
I have not seen a school board member at a preliminary plat approval in the years that I've served. I would like to see them, and I've made mentions, like I just said, you know, hey, where is the school board at on this? Have they at least, you know, been notified of such?
We have one in the back of the room right now. He's taking it all in.
That's all I got. Thank you.
All right.
Again, thank you for serving. I'm going to tell everybody that served and wants to serve. I appreciate your time, and thank you.
You bet.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
That's it. Jen, you good? Thank you, Nick.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you. All right, Mr. Mark Vila. He's another current board member.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me the opportunity to apply for this high-paying job. I appreciate
It's
that.
top dollar. I heard y'all
Yeah.
getting a raise this year.
Let me just say, give you a little background about myself. I've been in technology for 30-plus years. I've worked for large corporations such as Ryder, Dell Technologies, managing global platforms, global teams. I work for smaller companies. I currently work for a pretty large company now in charge of all of their software. And what we do here, born and raised here, not in Ascension, my wife as well. And we moved away back, I'm going to date myself, back in the 80s, okay, in Marietta, Georgia. I cut my teeth on planning and zoning when I decided to go out and buy a piece of property and realize that, hey, wait a minute, you can't do this here, that kind of thing. So I got involved in Cobb County planning and zoning and learned a whole lot there. And that was back in the 90s to date myself. And then we moved back home. Our kids went to school here like we did. And we decided we wanted to come back and give back to the community and take our experiences and share. Now that, you know, we have 5+ grandchildren that live here, many residents that live here, I wanted to get involved on this parish level. My wife's on a totally different level of giving back and working at a lot of different things for the betterment of our state, okay? So, you know, I'm here to give back. I want to see the next generation do well in this great parish. We could have picked any parish we wanted, and we picked Ascension, right? It resembles a lot of things that other states have. It's got resources, it's got potential. As you all know, it's one of the largest parishes for economic growth currently, not just in the state, but nationally. We are changing. You know, I mentioned I'm in technology because every 10 years I have to reinvent myself. I have to learn the newest thing and be certified in that to succeed. So we're in that mode. Whether you guys realize it or not, and everybody in this parish, we're not the sleepy little bedroom community of Baton Rouge or New Orleans anymore. We've got major industry, and that's a good thing, okay? There's some downside to it, right? You lose that little down-home feel. But also, you know, I want to continue to serve because, as you know, I'm big on infrastructure. Okay? A lot of people want to blame developers on drainage and the infrastructure, but it's really the parish needs to think more on infrastructure and how do we fund that, okay? The way we're doing it now is probably can't accommodate for what we have and what we've got coming. And then also, we need to think about how do we break down these silos and work as one community, as a fabric, as a whole. I'm talking about City of Gonzales, City of Sorrento, and the Parish of Ascension. You know, there's applicants that maybe don't like the way the rules and the ordinances are set up to get a particular zoning, so they go annex somewhere else that allows it. But yet, we're under the same roof, right? West Bank, East Bank, we're under the same roof. We're one parish, one community. We need to think as a whole and not as a silo. So, you know, by me serving on this board, maybe I can help those conversations and bring awareness, if anything, that we need to rethink ourselves just like people have to do in technology. So I'll open up for questions, but I will tell you, I don't know the numbers of what I've approved and disapproved, but the minutes are online.
Well, I hope you know
Okay.
what Donaldsonville is, because he's going to ask
I
you
know
that
where
question.
it is. But you know, I don't, excuse me, I'm not a family name here, right? So I don't have any interest in any of this other than progress and working for the next generation, okay? So when I get these zoning packets and such, I pretend I don't know the names for the most part, right? I'm going by what I'm given by the staff and what the codes allow. And safety's in mind of the residents first. So, you know, I'm pretty neutral, pretty boring in that respect.
Very good. Mr. Joseph?
Well, you know, you say you don't know how many, but how long you been on the board?
4 years, sir.
4 years. Okay, so you probably haven't done no more than about 2 or 3 of them yourself. Because you've been in, you know,
The most of them are family
moratorium for what you
petitions.
call. So
Yeah.
the experiences for us, how many you approved, that's all my question was. And the other one is, you know, Donaldsonville, and the other thing is, do you think, and you made your comment, we should be under one big old umbrella? I agree with you on that, but do you know the income and the difficulties of certain and West Bank have, and they haven't had in over the last 40 years, and now all of a sudden we have a boom. And it's a culture shock, plus it's an industrial shock to us. And way developers are today, you know, they're saying our rules are very, very strict and very costly for them. And to come into unknown territory of Donaldsonville to develop something that over here, a house is average between $250,000 to $400,000. Over there, a house average between $80,000 to maybe $150,000.
Right.
And so it's a big deal about rezoning and planning for the West Bank. Now, I agree, once they catch up, I agree. But right now, you know, from what I have been serving on the council for more than 16 years, we way behind, and the rules is way ahead of us on the West Bank. So, you know, as a board member, I hope y'all do take that in consideration when you making these decisions. And, you know, the rules are different. I hate to say it, they are different. That's all.
Let's see. Mr. Barnadoe?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for serving.
Yes, sir.
I guess same question for you for school concurrency. What's your take on that? Then I got a follow-up question.
Well, it goes to, you got to work to break down the silos. You got to have collaboration, and what I do, it's all about collaboration and communication, right? So these zonings that come around, you know, it's also part of the applicant's duty, right? Depending if it's a big development, not necessarily family petitions, but to seek everyone involved to garner their support as well, whether it be a school board or local the group or state, right? So they have a responsibility too planning and zoning has a limit of what their jurisdictions and what they can do. The only thing I say is we should professionally use our voice and what we do to encourage that collaboration ahead of coming to us to make a decision and putting the blame on a board that, where there was no full collaboration in a big project. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate it. And one more follow-up question. What is the biggest realization from not serving planning and zoning in Ascension Parish to now serving? Since you've been on the board, what's the biggest thing that you would say, didn't know that, or, you know, maybe didn't understand that going in? What would be something to that nature?
I'm not going to hold back. We have some gaps, right? We have gaps in the staff office to the planning and zoning board on material, you know, timely material, okay? Just call it out. Now, again, I'm not here to please anybody under this roof. I'm here to serve the community, right? So none of that affected me. Where it could have affected an applicant is if I didn't have the right information or wasn't given everything to make the best decision possible, then, sorry to say, I'm not for it. But, you know, everybody has to do their part, is the bottom line. And collaboration and communication is a big part of that.
I agree.
Very good, very good. Mr. Hillingsback.
I do agree with you about not getting enough information. If a project meets the code but clearly creates a long-term concerns, how would you approach that decision?
Well, first of all, it's about safety for the community and, you know, the residents, right? For example, we have go back to infrastructure. We have failing roads. Certain things might meet all the codes and the ordinances, but a failing road doesn't mean it still can't pass a traffic study, which I don't understand.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay? And so if it's, you know, you don't pass the second grade if you don't pass the test. Bottom line.
Thank you, sir.
Very good.
Anyone?
That's it? That's it, Brian?
Yes.
Jen, you good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next, we got Miss Michelle Unitas. Miss Michelle, you're also reapplying, right?
I am. This is only my first reappointment. I've only served 2 years on the commission.
Right.
And I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest 3-minute version of what I had kind of fleshed out with my experience over the past couple of years and things that I've, you know, done. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and consider my reappointment to the commission. Again, like everybody said, voluntary, unpaid position. I do this for the same reason that I pursued my Navy career, 20 years retired Navy, because I wanted to serve the people. I want to serve the people of the Ascension Parish. I came here from Maryland at the end of 22. Had I stayed in Maryland, I would have been on their Planning and Zoning Commission too, because there were things that needed to be addressed there as well.
Thank you for serving, especially in the Navy.
Somebody has a bias.
It's always a plus.
And that's that independence and that willingness to say no when yes is an easy answer. Done that in many a room. Although I'm a relative newcomer, not a stranger to Louisiana. Married one of its own back in '89, fell in love with Acadiana. Of all the places I've lived in the world, I chose to live in Ascension Parish specifically because it calls back to my rural Ohio roots, in a very similar county in the way it's sort of set up. And I don't have any obligations to anyone except for the residents here in the parish. And that's at the foundation of every vote that I take that I've made. It's the people first, in accordance with the rules and the regulations. I've seen how much the decisions in this room matter. This parish is growing faster in some places than we can even imagine, West Bank in particular. You guys have really got a big pickle over there. And Because we're growing so fast, the distinction between the partnership between the planning department and the planning commission is essential. We both have our roles. The department provides administrative and technical overview, gives us their opinions on things, and they provide the technical review. But the commission is a citizen-led body that evaluates the applications publicly, applies the code, and makes the decisions for you, to give you the right guidance in the zoning things and planning so that you can apply the laws and enforce the legislative actions that you have. But maintaining that balance, we're all on a balance, all checks and balances. We have administrative, we have legislative, we have sort of a quasi-judicial branch as well. We know growth is coming. The question is, will we manage it responsibly or let it outpace the systems that were meant to support the people? We can't keep building out forever, not with the drainage challenges, not with our limited buildable land, and not without considering environmental impacts, and without our reliance on DOTD for making those critical improvements that we have. Because sadly, we are blocked in by all of the state routes, and that's not necessarily in our budget nor our purview to fix, even though we need to fix those things with the failing infrastructure we have. But we do need to consider higher density options that still respect the character of the surrounding areas. Not every answer is a multifamily apartment complex or a bunch of condos. There are options out there. There are context-sensitive solutions. There's cottage courts, courtyard clusters, duplexes, townhomes, all where you can provide the infrastructure to make the drainage more efficient in the area that it is, not just build roads willy-nilly, and maintain the character of the land. Water seems to be the biggest thing that scares people here. People worry every time it rains. What's going to come from their neighbor's yard into their yard? Are the roads going to flood? Am I going to be able to get to work? Is traffic going to be passable? We have to make sure that we're building smartly and that we insist on accuracy and legality and transparency on all the things that we do. And if we don't see something that's right, we'll call it out. And I bring my Navy career ethic. I was also 35 years with the top secret clearance, so I know codes, regulations, and enforcements, and we live by those all the time. And I won't rubber stamp anything that puts people at risk. And if documentation doesn't align with the code, I'll say something about it. I'll seek clarity. I'll ask questions and make sure that things are accurately complied with. You see my record. You saw me ask some difficult questions. You saw me get a little heated in the last meeting that we had. And I might have come here as an outsider, but Louisiana's been in my heart since 1989. And a little bit before that, I was curious about it before then, but when I married somebody from here and really got into the culture very deeply, it's just a place I wanted to live. And I want to be here to represent the people and the families and understand that the decisions that I make, and I know the consequences of those people, for what we make, the decisions we make in this room. So Ascension deserves thoughtful, courageous, people-first planning and zoning, and I hope that I could get to continue to do the work.
Very good. You got any questions?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's got to go in order. Mr. Barnard,
Oh, I hit it first. I'm gonna ask the same question. Again, thank you for your service in the military. Thank you for your service to your community here. What is the biggest thing on the planning commission that you've, I guess, just like I asked Mark, that's the biggest surprise that you know you have a thought before you get on the board, and then you get there and you realize, oh crap, maybe, you know, I know certainly when I served there was some pre-thoughts going in, and then once you get on the board, you realize that these are big decisions and the legal aspects of things. What is the biggest surprise in that aspect?
Well, it's definitely a lot to learn. You can't become an expert in 2 years doing a part-time job. So it's a huge learning curve. If you don't work in the industry, you don't work with, you know, policies and all those kind of things on a regular basis. So learning the policies, learning how they're applied, learning where everybody's role is. You sort of see it shake out over time, but then you really start digging into the regulations and you're like, okay, well, oh, maybe that's a little different. Maybe that's, there's some things that are certainly eye-opening as to how the roles kind of fall out. But we all have to play our part, do our piece, make sure we have our balance of powers, and make sure that all of the things that we do are supported by code, and so that we protect the people from any kind of, legal action as well, because that is kind of your bottom line, because I know that you're probably tired of executive sessions for the next legal thing that comes up. And I really hope that we can avoid some of those things by making sure that we hold people accountable to do their job the way they should be doing it.
Thank you. Also, school concurrency, what's your thoughts on that?
I think that all of the aspects should be taken into, we focus on drainage and traffic studies and the lay of the land and all this stuff, but there's a lot more to a community than just roads and infrastructure.
Do you think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But like Mark was saying, we have our scope of responsibility. And the other boards have their areas of influence as well, but I think everybody should have their say, just like the public. Those boards should come and say what their influence is and what their opinions are of the decisions that we make. We're making decisions on hard, concrete things. They're more ethereal when it comes to how do we estimate numbers and how is that going to affect the school systems. And you can only guess as to the ages of the kids that might come in and live in the places that are being built. So I think everybody should have a say in it, whether it's the emergency services, fire department, all of those guys that have to make, adjustments when you have more people.
That's all I got. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Todd. Mr. Hilling's back.
Thank you, ma'am. Hypothetical. A developer calls you and asks you how to get their project approved before it comes to the commission. What would your answer be?
What would my answer be? My answer would be, you need to talk to the planning department. That is not my job.
Correct. Thank you.
That's it, Brian?
Yeah.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes. How many subdivisions have you done?
Well, I think there's only been a couple that's actually come in front of the commission in the past 2 years since I've been here, since they had the moratorium.
Okay. And, Mr. How do you feel about overlays?
Overlays can be helpful in helping to define an area without having to rezone everything. I mean, it'll help to influence how you might approach an area and treat it in a particular way, much the way you would do a PUD or a SPOD.
And my last question, have you ever been on the West Bank?
Yes, sir, I have. As a matter of fact, I went to go and change the flags for the mayor over there for Veterans Day last year, and we found a snag. So, yes,
And
I do love Donaldsonville.
I remember you correctly, you tried to get the mayor with one of the flags there.
Yeah, it was, anyways, yes, I do know Donaldsonville. I've been there. I really like the town. It's got such charm to it. In fact, an old Navy buddy came and visited, and that's where we chose to go and spend an afternoon, and she just enjoyed being there too, so.
Thank you very much.
That's it, like when they spend money. All right, any other questions? Ms. Jen, you good? That's it. All right, thank you, Ms. Unitas. All right, Mr. Jeffrey Nolan. How you doing, Jeff? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the board, please.
Well, first, thank you for having me, okay? I guess I'm the first candidate up who didn't serve on the commission, so I guess I need to tell you a little bit about who I am and where I come from. I went to LSU, got a scholarship. Would not have gone to LSU, wouldn't have gone to college had I not gotten that scholarship, because that was back before TOPS. My dad was an electrician out of the electrical local 995, and in 1986, when I graduated from high school, there was no union work here. So instead of me leaving home, my parents left home to go seek work elsewhere. And I stayed at my mom and dad's house and went to LSU on my scholarship, okay? So I learned to handle things by myself. As part of that scholarship, they gave me a job working for the Center for Wetland Resources. I wanted to be a physical therapist, okay? I applied in New Orleans with a 3.7 GPA and didn't get in, okay? So I went to talk to some of the guys, the professors that I work for, and they said, hey, why don't you switch over to environmental science? So I ended up switching while I still had money on my scholarship and got a degree in environmental science. After that, I went to work for a Superfund site north of Baton Rouge, the Petro Processors Superfund site. Worked there for about 6 months. Very bad place. Ended up working for DEQ. Spent 29 years at DEQ. I worked mostly in the enforcement realm, but I did work in 2 different aspects of the enforcement realm. So there was the civil aspect, and then there's a criminal aspect. I did both. I actually led the criminal enforcement division for about 12 years of my 29 years. I wrote 2 of the chapters of the environmental regulations. So just to kind of give you an idea, the statutes in state law require the department to consider 9 factors when they're going to issue a penalty. And it's things like nature and gravity of the violation, gross revenues of the respondent, blah, 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 blah. The problem with the statute is it doesn't tell you how to consider the 9 factors. So I actually was tasked with going in and taking those 9 factors and then quantifying, making a quantifiable regulation that anybody could take, plug in, and get an answer, black and white, okay? And I will just tell you this, and I would think this of the developers, okay, since I was involved in the meeting the other night, and I don't know this to be true, but when I worked for the department, I worked a lot with industry, okay? And all I ever heard from industry, LCA, Lamoga, all these people, these plants along the river, is we don't care if your regulations are tough. We just want them to be consistently applied. So that is my main focus for wanting to be on this commission, is to treat everyone fairly. And so I guess if I had to sum it up, it would almost be like the Hippocratic Oath, to sit here and say, first, do no harm, okay? So when we're sitting here deliberating about what we're gonna do as far as approving whatever we approve, that should be the first thing in our mind, is the health and safety and welfare of the citizens of Ascension Parish, okay? I think that's actually in the statutes and state law, okay, that we have to consider that. One of the things that, you know, I guess while I'm up here and I'm on my soapbox, and things that I have learned, okay, I'm retired from DEQ. I've been retired for 5 years, okay, almost 6. Is I think that there's some opportunities for improvement as to the way you guys handle applications. At DEQ, we used to do the same thing. We get paper applications. There was no rhyme or reason or standardization of anything that we got, and it made things really difficult. So I would implore you, whether I get put on this board or not, is to standardize the way that you take applications, especially for subdivisions. You could almost do a contingency tree, right? Where you fall into a subdivision and then if this, then you need these forms, and standardize your forms, okay? And actually, you could probably do it to where you could have it all submitted electronically, okay? So that anybody, one of the big things at DEQ is we have a system called EDMS, the Electronic Document Management System. Every document that comes into DEQ is scanned. I'm not advocating this now, but I'm just giving you an example of what's possible. Every document that comes into DEQ is scanned so that anybody, you really don't have to do well, some people do public records requests for like emails and things like that, but you can go online right now yourself and look up any permit for DEQ, any types of submittals from any regulated entity. And believe me, you'd be surprised the number of facilities DEQ regulates, all the way from doctors' offices, all the way to schools with asbestos. I mean, it's a lot more than you would think. What else would I say? So in talking with Mr. Varnado, I've actually had a chance to look at some of the things that are going on around the country as far as including the considerations for schools in the development process. I even went so far as to draft an ordinance. Okay, now, again, this is just a draft, and I'm not telling you guys that I'm ready to give it to you and it should be passed or anything. I was just playing around with it, okay? But it's very similar to what they do in Florida. And after I did that, again, I didn't have all the numbers, and that was one of the things is, you know, this ordinance that I drafted would force the school board to become involved, okay? And I say become involved, at least provide data, okay, for you guys to make good, well-informed decisions, okay? And it's basically a simple formula, right? I mean, you've got school attendance or enrollment versus school capacity. And if the schools, you know, are at capacity or near capacity, then this ordinance would kick in for development. And so I actually estimated, I had school enrollment, that was easy to get. I did not have school capacity, so I had to guess at that. But just to see what would happen, I ran it against the ordinance. And a third of the schools would be affected, mostly the primary schools, okay? I believe you have two high schools in your district, don't you?
Yes.
Dutchtown and,
No, I got Santa Monica, the University of Santa Monica and East Ascension.
okay. So my kids graduated both. I've been in the parish for 30 years, so more than half my life. Both my kids graduated from East Ascension High School. My daughter's an accountant, my son's an engineer, okay? Ascension has some of the best schools in the state. If you look at how the districts are drawn up, all of y'all's districts, you got little tiny boxes in the northern part of the parish, and you got great big boxes in the bottom part of the parish. And I'm speaking to Mr. Joseph here when we talk about the size of a district. But that tells you something. You know, you all have about 10 and 12,000 people in your districts. Miss Jen wins the prize for most densely populated at, I believe you're 1,100 God-fearing souls. No, I'm sorry, 1,400 God-fearing souls per square mile. Mr. Joseph, to give you as an example, Mr. Joseph is at 155.
I got a 5.
All right.
Anybody else want to know theirs?
No, we appreciate that. We got any questions for Mr. Nola? I got a couple. All right.
Fire away, guys. I got nothing to lose.
All right, do you think commissioners have independent judgment or should they defer to staff?
Well, I'll tell you what we would do. My suggestion would be, to answer your question, the short answer is they have independent judgment, okay? That's not even questioned, okay? Staff should be there for technical assistance only, okay? One of the things we did at DEQ, because as you can imagine, some of these permit applications are highly technical. They can be hundreds and hundreds of pages, okay? We have what's called a pre-permitting section, okay? And all they do, they're not technical people. All they do is make sure that everything that's required of the applicant is submitted and is administratively complete. That takes a lot of, of the time out of things. Now, when the permit writer gets the permit to write, they don't have to go and chase down all these different things that are required of the permit. That's why I'm, harping on, standardization, forms, electronic submittals.
Yeah.
You
I
can
just
check
glad
yourself.
You agree.
Yeah, very good.
That's it.
Any more questions?
Yeah.
Oh, you got one?
Who's up? Hold on a second. Mr. Joseph.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna ask you a question. For the West Bank, we're annexing a lot of property. Now, how do you feel about city basing annexing property?
Well, I'll give you an example of something that I ran across in my career, and y'all kind of touched upon it. Some of these people kind of touched upon it too, and it relates to sewage. I'm going to try to answer your question using an example. So New Iberia actually is in Iberia Parish, and so New Iberia, just like Gonzales, is a city within a parish. The city and the parish did not get along, okay? But they had their sewage tied in together, and they fell into a state of non-compliance. So the finger pointing started, right? And it was like, who's responsible? The city had the sewage treatment plant, but most of the collection system was in the parish, okay? So to answer your question, I think you really need to be careful about when you start annexing things, what becomes the city's versus what is the parish's, okay? So, yes, I have been to Donaldsonville many times. One of the things that Donaldsonville, people don't know this, supplies the vast majority of fresh water to most of South Louisiana with the pump that goes over into Bayou Lafourche. So I've actually been waist deep in Bayou Lafourche doing what they call discharge measurements and time of travel studies to actually figure out how long it takes water to get from Donaldsonville down to basically Houma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other
Okay.
questions?
No, that's it.
Jen?
So hypothetical, and this is kind of tying off of how we've gotten to know each other. If you were commissioner, how would you explain to the public that a proposed subdivision met all the requirements, even though nobody nearby wanted it?
So in the 29 years that I worked at DEQ, we had tons, and nobody wants sewage treatment plant. Nobody wants a landfill in their backyard. And it's kind of the same thing here, okay? I'm not anti-development, okay? As a matter of fact, I think everybody who sits on this commission's default should be to approve, okay? Unless you can find some type of procedural or material defect in the developer's application. So, did I answer your question? Or what?
how would you explain it to the public? If you were a commissioner and you had just approved?
Well, I'll tell you how I explained it to the subdivision, okay? We actually met, and I said, look, their default is to approve. So if we're going to get it knocked down, we're going to have to find a material defect in the procedure or the process, okay? You can't get up here and say, you know, my kids, you know, I'm worried about my kids, or it's going to flood or anything like that, if you don't have something to back it up with in an ordinance or some type of, you know, failure to submit something that's required in the application. So my belief is that, you know, this commission's duty is to grant an application unless there's, you know, some type of very specific thing that says you must deny. And in that particular case, there's a thing that's called dispositive, okay, which is the traffic, you know. I think Mr. Varnado may have chimed in. I can't remember if it was Mr. Varnado or Mr. Hillensbeck chimed in the other night on the whole thing about the traffic and the shall deny, okay? Those are the types of regulations that when I wrote, I'm telling you, you think you want wiggle room as elected officials. You don't, okay? You actually want quantifiable stuff that you can take to court if somebody sues you, and you can say, we applied the law, here it is, there's the record, and the judge has no other choice but to side with the parish.
That's good, Jen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no further questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brandon Berthelot. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good evening.
Just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the board.
So, first of all, I want to say, I love Ascension Parish. That's the reason why I want to be on the commission. That's the only reason. But I want to serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission because it's one of the most important ways to shape how our community grows. And the decisions made there impact traffic, neighborhoods, property values, long-term development. It's an opportunity to listen to residents, review projects thoughtfully, and help balance growth with quality of life. I care about responsible development and making sure decisions are made fairly and transparently. Now, look, I've lived here my whole life, okay? I'm 45 years old, and a lot of times when you ride around, you see things, whether it's water or traffic, and you're like, this just isn't right. So it kind of spurred something inside of me to want to do something about it. So I'm trying to offer my time, and like I've done in the past, I did a lot of volunteering and coaching, baseball growing up. I'm still an umpire for the parish. Serving on the planning and zoning feels like a natural extension of that. And the decisions made there affect families I see every week. Traffic, neighborhoods, schools, right? Property values. I care about making sure that the community grows in a way that protects what makes it special, not protects special interests. I'm not looking for anything other than a chance to serve and help make thoughtful and balanced decisions. I do know where the West Bank is, all the way from St. Patrick to West 3rd.
You ever umpired over there?
Up in the West Bank.
I umpired. I went to school there. I went to school at Ascension Catholic. And a couple of things on the West Bank. Reduced impact fees in the West Bank growth zones, tax abatements for mixed use or workforce housing. How about some faster permitting timelines for them? Infrastructure partnership credits, density bonuses in targeted corridors, When's the last time we built a neighborhood there?
1972.
Exactly. A lot of the kids that I went to Ascension Catholic with, they go to college, they get great jobs, they want to buy a brand new house. The guy that I played football with at Ascension Catholic, Roland Johnson, he's my neighbor at Pelican Crossing. Because there was no.
You was doing good.
Right.
As long as you was talking about Downsville, now you came back.
We headed on back.
Well, I wanted to bring up my neighborhood
That's why
too,
they built that bridge.
Pelican Crossing. I bought my house there. Come to find out, there's a huge bauxite pile behind it. That was another thing that just a glaring fact that with the moratorium over with, people are going to start to move forward, and I need to be involved, But yeah, I do know
Very good. Yeah.
where Donaldsonville is. And, it's not that, Donaldsonville should get special treatment or anything, but what it does is, economic development there is not charity. It's strategy. And balanced growth reduces traffic overload in the east. It reduces the school strain we all talk about. It reduces infrastructure costs and also political resentment. Is there any questions? Sorry.
Yeah, we got.
I don't want to get very long-winded or anything. So.
No, you're good. You good, Mr. Todd?
Mr. Todd,
Again,
yeah.
thank you for your application. Thank you for your time. I strongly encourage more people to do this. So, school concurrency, I'm going to ask you, just like I asked everybody else, fair question. What is your take on it? And again, being fully transparent, I know that we currently, not that we can't consider it, but we do not have an ordinance that supports it. And state legislation, I do know, doesn't specifically exclude us from considering it. But Ascension Parish just currently doesn't have any kind of ordinance plus the data from the schools to back it. So I do know that. What is your take on the impacts potentially when a subdivision comes across? Do you think there's impacts on the schools and also?
Of course there's impacts on schools. Yeah, yes, I think we should use all the data, especially with the emergence of AI. I was at a talk at Loyola down in New Orleans today. It was a huge symposium about AI, about how the emergence of it is going to bring all this data into concurrence, right? So if we have some data, it's going to help us out how to figure out how to plan schools, roads. Yes, definitely we should be using all things to help us plan.
Thank you.
Very good.
Anything else?
You guys good? That's it, Brent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right. Ms. Parish J. I'm gonna try to say it. DuVernay. Is she here? Negative. Okay. Mr. James Moore. Yes, sir. No problem. Mr. Richard Utterback, he's not here, but he did give his.
Yeah, I think he wants to still be considered. But
Chairman Cup, you missed Mr. Cross.
Who?
Cross Marshall.
Oh, I crossed it out because it said cross. I'm sorry. Mr. Cross Marshall.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
We apologize.
Who said I couldn't read, huh?
Apologize for him, okay?
Oh, it's no problem at all.
My bad, bro. I'm sorry.
All good, sir.
Yeah.
First, I want to thank y'all so much for having me up here. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and apply for this. So, my name is Cross Marchand, and I am a 2019 Catholic High School graduate. I'm a small business owner here in Gonzales. I've lived here my entire life off of 621. One of the reasons that I really wanted to apply myself and see if I get onto this board is I actually was impacted by development and drainage issues on my personal property or my family's property. and that inspired me to start my own site work and excavation company. I was able to correct those issues and whatnot and resolve them. So my background is in excavation and site work. I'm familiar with plans. I'm familiar with a little bit of zoning, not overly, don't have a ton of experience on it, but I currently am dealing with infrastructure. I live here, but a majority of my workload is in St. Tammany Parish, and I'm very familiar with drainage and all things of that nature.
All right, Mr. Cross. Mr. Vornado, you got a question?
Did I press it?
Yep.
You didn't even press it.
I ain't press it, but okay. Same question, school concurrency. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a smart thing as far as growth and considering these subdivisions and major subdivisions, not simple subdivisions?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the biggest impacts on our local community is the incoming schools and looking at the population and how that's going to affect traffic loads and just everything in general. So that's one thing that definitely has to be focused on the board to ensure that the growth with the schools and with the population, obviously, that these developers are aware of the impact of the lot sizes, how many homes are in these subdivisions, and what's going to be overall the impact on the schools and our roads, really.
That's all I got, sir. Thank you. Again, like I said to everybody else, thank you for applying. We certainly need more of it. Thank you.
I got you. Okay, can I add a couple more things?
Yep.
I forgot. I'm sorry. The whole lacrosse thing and my name being crossed, it kind of caught me off guard. I'm sorry. I'm only 24, so it's a little new being up here. But
I do that to people.
I feel like there's two main problems in Ascension Parish that people are very concerned about. And the first one is drainage. And like I said, I'm very familiar with reading plans, infrastructure, all that. But I think the other one is being heard. I feel like there's a lot of our fellow residents that feel like they have opinions that aren't heard. And that's one thing that inspired my company was I was doing work in, I believe it was Meadows at Oak Grove, and there was a drainage dispute with a neighbor. I brought it up with the home builder, and I actually was a bit of a mediator in that situation. And whenever I stepped in, I was able to communicate between both of them. The homeowner felt heard, and he didn't actually come forward to y'all with the problem because it was able to be resolved immediately. So I feel that my young age and also my communication skills that I've developed with running my own company, I think is something that's desperately needed on the board. And also for our younger families, I know a few of them personally that are having drainage issues. And I feel like I can be a voice for them and a channel of communication for the other residents of Ascension Parish.
Very good. Mr. Joseph.
Have you ever been to the West Bank?
Yes, sir. A couple times, not very many.
All right. What's your opinion of all that area being basically developed? I mean, it's all sugar cane, it's all open land, and your insight on what you may can add to the zoning board to at least develop it.
Gotcha. So I noticed a common theme between what was spoken earlier and the other applicants is that we obviously have to have a standard set of rules. That is obviously a given. Everyone has to follow them. But at the same time, we also need to look at the needs of the local area and look at what can we do to improve residency there? What can we improve for quality of life? So I do believe that there needs to be certain things addressed at these meetings, obviously, and what can we do to work with developers? What can we do to incentivize appropriate growth that is sustainable for the infrastructure there? What can we do to plan ahead? Because that's one thing that I do a lot with my work is planning 11 steps ahead. That's my favorite quote. But that's something that definitely needs to be looked into. And I believe it's doable with the proper lines of communication and everyone's intentions are on the table and everyone's clear and precise on what they want and what they want to see.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Hilling's back.
All right, if stricter, you doing land work, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so if stricter regulations would hurt your business but benefit residents, how would you vote on that?
It wouldn't bother me because I'm extremely by the book, and I'll word it this way. I work for a very isolationist developer in St. Tammany Parish, and that is one thing that I noticed over there. Their drainage is, I would like to say, far more superior than to here, and I hate to say that, but it has taught me a lot. And I've learned from the best over there, and they've taught me, I mean, you should see the oversize. I mean, we're doing 72-inch arch pipe for a small, very small tract of land. And I've learned that if you do everything correctly and by code and you genuinely understand what's going on, that won't be a problem and it won't affect business. And to be completely transparent, I have a bit of an exclusion contract with them in St. Tammany, so I don't do any work in Ascension Parish anymore. But I still live here.
Thank you, sir.
So.
Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Jen, you good?
I got one more quick question.
Yes,
Sorry
sir.
about that.
Don't go nowhere.
You know the Poches?
I know a lot of Poches.
Darren Poche, there's a neighbor behind me, I believe. I think you
Darren
maybe
Poche.
went to school with his kids? No?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah,
Zach
I live
Poche,
right behind him.
Andrew Poche, Benjamin Poche.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I called him today, I asked him about you, so.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Ain't that something? All right.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much.
All right, appreciate it. Okay. I think that's all the interviews.
Make a motion to recess?
Okay, we're gonna, go ahead and make a 5-minute, recess, a motion to recess. All in favor?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. We're gonna recess 5 minutes, please. Yeah.
Oh, you want it right here?
Want
Want me to take care of it?
Oh, we ready? All right, we'd like to call back the it's been so long, I forgot what meeting we were in. Personnel Committee, we have the top 5 rankings to be sent to the full council. Mr. Nicholas Miller, Mr. Jeffrey Nolan, Mr. Mark Vila, Miss Michelle Unitas, and Mr. Wade Shake Snyder. Those will be sent to the full council.
Question.
Yes.
Cinnamon, so for the seat we're filling, do we need to designate, I'm assuming it's the last ranking person that would serve the remainder of Randy's term, or are we just starting that process? Yeah, it would probably be the last ranking person?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to designate, so the last person is Wade Shake Snyder. So
Okay.
Wade Shake Snyder will have to re-up next year?
I'll have to check with legal on that. I don't want to confirm that
Whatever
tonight,
the
but
remainder of Randy's term is.
we'll confirm that before it goes to council.
Okay, I just wanted
All
to
right.
make that known.
There you go. Next, we got, he's not on the agenda.
He's got a question real quick.
Oh, yes, sir.
So it's basically y'all send this to the council to ratify your decision?
Yes, yes.
This is just a recommendation board. We send it to the council for
For full approval.
confirmation there.
Yeah. Okay, next on the agenda is item C, Fire Protection District Number 3 Board. We have Mr. Cody Melanson. Motion by Mr. Frances. Second by Mr. Vornado. We're going to send Cody's name to the full board. Next, we got Mr. Gary Newman. Motion by Mr. DeFrances.
Second.
Second by Mr. Vornado. We're going to send Gary's name to the full council.
You need to go back, because we gotta make a motion to send that to the council.
We did.
No, we didn't.
No, nobody motioned it.
Okay.
Cinnamon, check with Cinnamon.
Yeah, he just did. That's what we just did. So we need to make a motion, go back
Okay.
go back to agenda item, what is it? B. I'll make a motion to go back to agenda item.
No, Chairman Cullen, you don't need a motion for the planning and zoning, you rank them. So
Right,
that-
right.
They're going, the recommendations are going in that order.
Exactly what I told him.
Motion
Okay.
adjourned.
We got, did we get a first and a second for Gary?
We did.
We did?
Jen, myself.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. We're adjourned.